by the way of the instructions, where they will receive the word from Yahweh. Deuteronomy chapter 8 captures this, and he humbled you to let you suffer hunger and fed you with manna which you did not know or did fathers know, to make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Yahweh. So you see, we live by the word of Yahweh. That's how we live today. And we need to go through the way of the word to hear the instructions from Yahweh and to obey. So Moshe, interesting. Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he certainly made the children of Israel swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring my bones from here with you. 400 years later, well, he was made to swear that the children of Israel, that surely God will visit you, and this is the time God is visiting them, 400 years later. And the promise goes that also the bones of Joseph will be brought back to the land. Why is that important? You know, if I die in, I don't know, I might be going around, well, I was in Brunei for 9 years. If I die in Brunei, would you take my bones back? I guess you would, right? But why Joseph's bone? There are so many other bones. What's in a bone? Why are these bones important? And what do they have? What's in your bones? Mga nurses, doctors. What's in the bone? Marrow. What's the marrow? What is the marrow? What does it do? The blood. What's in the blood? Blood type. What else is in the blood? Your DNA. That was so important to God, because remember, the promise was that they will be given the land. You know, Joseph left Israel, the promised land, right? Because he was sold by his brothers. And he was in Egypt. So now he's in Egypt. Now his claim to the land is not there, because his bones, his DNA is not in the land. That's why Yahweh made sure that Joseph's bone would go back to the land. Okay? So that's how important it becomes. And it has some implications for us today. The DNA. So Joseph's DNA is a person's DNA. It represents their identity. And Joseph's born the picture of the house of Israel. Remember, Joseph had two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Okay? And these are the two twins. And he had a younger brother, Benjamin. So this Joseph and Benjamin are brothers through the wife of Jacob, which is the wife whom he loves so much, Rachel. I'm beginning to sound Hebrew. Tamaan ako sa Hebrew. So, they were in Egypt when the 70 came. Remember? So all of the 72 of them came. But 70 came from Egypt. But Joseph was in Egypt all along, and his DNA was nowhere in the promised land. So that's why there were 12 tribes that came out of this. The 2 tribes currently live in the land, but the 12 tribes returned and lived in the land. So Joseph's bones represent the continuous heritage promised to Abraham's descendants generations ago. So when Yahweh makes a promise to Abraham, he will keep and make sure that as surely he would come 400 years later to save his people, surely shall we take Joseph's bones back to the promised land. So amazing. So another reason Joseph's bones had to be carried back to the land of Israel was because Joseph's brother had tried to kill him. So without his DNA, they would have said, oh, there's no more Joseph in this land. You see, surely he was killed. So Joseph, the descendants of Joseph, has no claim to the land. So that's why it was so important. Today, I picked up just recently, Netanyahu may require DNA tests to prove immigrants have a Jewish bloodline. You see, DNA now is playing becoming to be a major player in Jewish Israel. And he is, Prime Minister says he would be immigrants from former Soviet Union may be asked to prove their Jewish bloodline by giving them a DNA test. And it's prolific now. You can get a DNA test. You can check your DNA bloodlines. I can show you in a while how you can get that. Okay? So even in Israel, DNA testing is necessary. Israeli marriage laws explain. So you see, even before you get married, you register, and they want to make sure that you're Jewish Israel, so they check your DNA. See how important it is for today? The claim of the people to the land. And that is exactly why the war is going on. All of the Palestinians, all of the Arab people are saying, you don't have any claim to the land, so this land is not for you. There's no such thing as, all of these things. That's why Joseph's bone was really important at that time. Jews demand open borders for USA, but use DNA to keep Israel racially pure. And are you Jewish? Here's a website for you, iGenea. Do you have Jewish roots? Are you a DNA test by iGenea will provide, if you have 199 euros, you can get your test. Click to order. All right. When God says something, thousands and thousands of years ago, now it's playing a major role today. I will cue you in a little bit more. Are you ready for this? I got more news. They started testing DNA tests amongst the people who are now in Israel. And you can check this in the web. There's so many news going out now today. That's why the Arab world or the Palestinians are going against Israel with this. And they found out that most of the people in Israel today are Khazars. Khazars from Khazartan. Khazartan. They are converts to Judaism. And they were the ones who started the Zionist movement to come to Israel. So many of the people in Israel today may not have the DNA of the 12 tribes of Israel. But when God promises the land to his people, he will give it to them. And it's just for his people to begin now to have this sense in the spirit. Maybe if you are, that you start going back home where you belong. And I believe that there will be a grand exodus. The multitudes that they speak about in the last days, these are the people of Israel coming together again in a second exodus. And I believe in a second exodus, and it's something now that is a theme that is going on, that there will be a second exodus coming to the land of Israel. It was divided, northern kingdom, southern kingdom. So we have this is the northern kingdom, Israel, and this is Judah, where Jerusalem is. And the two kingdoms divide. It's a two-kingdom nation during the time after Solomon. Okay? So we have the north and the south. The northern kingdom were taken over by the early Assyrian Empire. Because they sinned against God and they committed all kinds of things, and God sent in the Assyrians, and they were taken away and they were lost. Then 500 BC, 530 BC, the Babylonians came and captured Judah and Jerusalem and brought them to Babylon. So all of Israel was abandoned. But after that, Babylon, the new Assyrian Empire came, and they were allowed to go back to Jerusalem. Remember the story? So they all came back, but they were the tribes of Judah. So they came back to Jerusalem. But what happened to the tribe up here in the north? Guess who's there on the north? It's the tribe of Manasseh and Ephraim mostly. And who are these people? The two sons of Joseph. So here again, the bearing of Joseph's bones coming back to Israel. So, and they are known as the 10 tribes. Because Judah and Benjamin aligned, Judah and Benjamin aligned, and there are the 10 tribes up north, which are known to be the 10 tribes, and also known as the 10 lost tribes, because there was no ever notice of them coming back, like the people of Judah coming from Babylon. So where are these 10 lost tribes? You read them in the New Testament when Jesus came, and he said, I came to save that which was lost. And that is referring to the 10 tribes of Israel, and also for the lost people spiritually. You know, when there's a physical meaning, it's also a spiritual application, but there's always a physical thing going on with God's people. So, and guess what? Today, what have we got? The contested area of land is the West Bank. And that is the Manasseh-Ephraim land area. They are contesting that land. This belongs to Palestine. This does not belong to Israel. This is the current map today. This is Israel white, and this is West Bank, but some of these territories are controlled by Israel. So you see how things are just coming to pieces, and you see why these current events are happening today, because of something that was going on thousands and thousands of years ago, and we see all these things just come because we're doing the Torah. Amazing. Okay. Sukkot and Etham, they were from Sukkot. Then the Lord asked them to go and depart to Etham. So they departed from Sukkot camp. Remember Sukkot? That's the Pentacles. So it was the first stop on the way out of bondage. Actually, they learned the ways of the Bedouins. The Sukkot is the Bedouin tribe, about 250,000 people during that time. And they were always on the move. They don't have a place to stay. So in a way, they were also kind of taught of how it is to be dwelling in tents. Because dwelling in tents means to learn the ways of the Bedouins. Today you go to Israel, you still see the Bedouins. They're still out there. So this is a journey into the desert. They learn a little bit of the ways of the Bedouins. And Etham, the journey to Etham, is an Egyptian word which means border by the sea. It's towards the Gulf of Aqaba. Okay? And Sea of Reeds is also referred to as the instrument of Yahweh's deliverance. Remember, Moses was in the river of Reeds. Then we see the pillar of clouds by day and the pillar of fire by night. And Yahweh went before them by day in a column of cloud to lead the way. It's leading the way by night in a column of fire to give them light so as to go by day and night. So day and night they traveled. And the column of cloud did not cease by day nor the column of fire before the people. And this is important to remember, to see the picture throughout the rest of the Torah, because it helps us about the second greater Exodus. I'll explain that in the future as I begin to know a little bit more about it. So the Hebrew word column, pillar, is really amud, which means amad, or stand firm or establish. So you see the meaning of pillar is the establish. And again, amud is 120, is equal to my people, or redeem you, or thick darkness. Eventually, it is to establish his people on the foundation of redemption. So the pillar is, if you take that word, it means to establish his people on the foundation of redemption. Amazing how the Hebrew word can add up to a message, to something that we can take with us. The column of cloud suggests that the heaven and Yahweh are veiled and can't be seen. Cloud covers. Okay? So it's also like a picture of the Rosh Chodesh. Remember Rosh Chodesh? That there's a time the moon won't shine because there's no shining of the sun going to the moon. But there's a time when it begins to shine. Then it finally shines its brightest. 2 days ago, it's shown its brightest. Did you see the full moon? 2 days ago. We're in the middle of a month, sometime of a month. So there are times that Yahweh is obscured, hidden to us, but there are also our darkest hour, but the light will break through and we will reflect that light again. So this is the cycle that God is telling us. I am here all the time. He never left, but it's just a cycle that we can bring back again the light of Yeshua. So all along the house of Elohim, Hekal, was obscured behind the veil. Remember the veil? But in the kingdom of the Messiah, when the Hekal is built, there will be no veil. As in today, there's no veil. So whenever our faith, our trust is tested, we need to remember that it's Him leading the way, day and night. And also in Isaiah, it's mentioned, a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining flaming fire by night, for over all the esteem shall be a covering. So this is a covering. You know, let me go to the Gulf of Aqaba. So how deep is the water? The one I mentioned, that this is the crossing. The Gulf of Aqaba is very deep. In places, it's over 1,600 meters deep. How can they cross that? Even with the sea dried up, walking across would be difficult due to the steep grade. Each side has a steep grade, but there's one spot where if the water were removed, it would be an easy descent. So all these spots, this is a steep grade going down. However, in this particular area, is a slow slope going down the sea. I'll show you. So depth sounding expedition had revealed a smooth, gentle slope descending from Nuweibe to the Gulf out to the Saudi Arabia. This shows that there's a pathway on depth recording equipment, confirming it's a biblical description what the Bible speaks about, a way in the sea and a path in the mighty waters. Huge waters are in this place. Okay? And the distance between Nueva and Saudi Arabia, the Saudi coast is 18 kilometers, or 11 miles. And some of its point is about 800 meters deep. By the way, the Dead Sea, if you go to the Dead Sea, that's the lowest part of the earth. You go there, there's a sign, you're now entering the lowest part of the earth. It's 800 meters below sea level. So, but it's a gentle slope going down. The Bible describes it as a mighty waters, and not the single Egyptian survived when the water collapsed on them. Take a look. So, this is the place from Nueve to Saudi Arabia. There is a place where it's just a gentle slope and coming up. This is 18 kilometers long. And if you take out the water, they did a geological study on it, and this is probably how it looks like from Egypt or from Nueve to Saudi Arabia, 18 kilometers long. So it looks like a land bridge. And this is Google Maps. You can Google map this area, and you'll notice that there is sort of a beach just before the crossing, right here. This is the place. So they say that this is a place where probably 2 million Israeli or Jews could assemble. And the path is through the high mountains, through the valley. And if you go there today, it would look like this. The road is in the valley, and once you go through the valley and out that way, the sea and the Gulf of Aqaba is before you, and when you look back, and if there are Egyptians behind you, there's no place to go but cross the sea. This is an actual picture of today. And here's another picture of that place. This is a Google map, so there are now settlements there. People go there and visit. During their time, over to the north, there was an Egyptian fortress. They dug out and they saw that there was an Egyptian fortress. And over to the south is mountains covering. There's no path for them to go back this way. The only way back is through this narrow path. And if the Egyptians were there, there's no turning back. They have to go this way. So that's why they were forced. And I think there's a quote. Oh, let me share with you how Exodus records it. And